Well, here it is, March, and I've still got a coat on. I mean, this is pretty crazy. But I do have some updates I wanted to do. Been working on the bigger garden. I've done some planting, not much, but what I have done, I want to show you. It's just real surprising here that it's May and I still have the heat turned on, have yet to turn on the air conditioner to the house. The amount of rain that we've gotten, it finally stopped long enough to actually get in the garden this past week and try to get it prepared. But as of today, it's supposed to start raining and rain for an entire week. So that's a little discouraging, but I'm glad I didn't actually get the plants in the big garden, even though they desperately need to go, because it's just going to be so much rain. That'd be probably kill them. The amount of rain just every day just wouldn't be good for little plants like that. So even though I was wanting to get them in the ground, I'm glad I didn't. So we'll try to get past this week with the rain and then try to get them in the ground as soon as possible. But let me show you what I've got done so far. Hey, as I'm walking out here to show you the garden and everything, I want to take this opportunity to ask you if you would to subscribe to our channel. We do a lot of different things. A lot of it does have to do with gardening, fixing things, sometimes breaking things, sometimes just doing something stupid because it's fun. But if you would give us a like on this video and subscribe to our little family here, we sure would appreciate it. And here's the little garden section for you. So this is right outside the shop in our raised beds that we've had for years. If you've been following our channel, you'll recognize these. This is the first one right by the door as you exit the shop. You can see the bricks and kind of this makeshift little fencing action. This was because we had to cover them several times for fear of frost. These are the peas and beans, some just various peas and beans that I threw out here. I had grown inside from seed, and they were just taking over, so I did not harden them off or anything. I just basically just had to get rid of them and thought, well, survive or die. They've got to go in the ground. They're taking up too much of my space in my cell tray. So went ahead and threw them out here, and surprisingly, almost all of them did survive. They did look pretty pathetic at first because they got sunburned, and but they've come back. And then because we covered them from the snow and frost, they survived through all that as well. So you can see this bare spot over here. That's where some of them just didn't quite make it. But I'm pretty happy that we got what we got. That they were just sacrificial plants anyway. But glad to see that they're still doing well. Got the rest of the beds. There are 8, I believe. Yeah, 8. There's 8. I just had to quickly count them, but there's 8 of these. This is the kind of a short bed, but the rest of them are standard 8 foot long, and they just run along the whole length of the shop here, minus the door and a little bit. But all of these beds here are potatoes, and so we planted I believe it was 93 potatoes, and they are just now starting to come up. You can see we always just cover them with straw, and then here they are. These are the little baby potatoes that are just now starting to come up through the surface, and so forth all the way through this bed. So we did Yukon Gold, which we've never planted before, and we did just the red Pontiac and the white, I'm trying to think what they were called. I can't think of them right this moment, but there's just the type that we got at the local kind of farm shop that we get every year. So these came out to being super cheap. We did cut them and let them heal over before we planted them. That's something new that we've never done. We usually just buy the smallest ones and plant them whole. You can see they're doing real well. There's a spot here because this has nothing in it. This half of the bed here has potatoes. This half has absolutely nothing. And then more and more potatoes. So that's how much you get out of 93 potatoes. It took six beds, pretty much 5.5 to be exact, but that's the potatoes. And then I'll just kind of pan over here. This is our strawberries, and this is where the garden was. And I planted grass seed, and you can see it grew in stripes, and I find that hilarious because I definitely did not plant my grass in rows, but that's how it grew. But anyway, it always makes me kind of smile because I don't know why it only grew in rows. But I have rows of beautiful grass here in my garden. That was my garden. Now it's supposed to be grass. And then over here's the new big garden. You can see up top, and I'll kind of pan and show that. That's all been covered with plastic. We just finally got this finished last night. It took us 3 nights after work getting out here and putting this landscaping fabric down. You can see the wrinkle here, right here, and they all kind of have a tighter edging to them. But the sun, and we did all this section last night, so you can see the really flat part. Once the sun comes down and beats on it, it basically flattens it out and makes it really tight. The rest of it, this was just what we did last night. So, and you can see there's no sun, so it has not had a chance to kind of relax. But it'll look great once the sun comes out and kind of flattens it out for us. But I'll get into a little bit more detail about that in just a minute. These raised beds here I have not done anything with. We tried to cover them with a tarp to keep anything from growing. You can see that was mostly successful. And this over here, we did put some of the compost in there, but we just didn't have enough. And these other beds over here had the exact same amount of compost put in them. And then I went back and got a full truckload of dirt, and one full truckload of dirt went ahead and finished off these 3 beds, as you see here. And that's the horse compost that we get locally up the road from us. So one full truckload, which is 1 cubic yard, is what it took to fill these 3 beds after they had already had a pretty good bit put in them, just like those. So I need one more truckload, in other words. These are onions. So our onions are coming up. It took a little over one of these large beds. This is a 6 foot by 4 foot bed. You can see them, they're looking beautiful. These are from starts, they're not from seeds. We had planned on doing seeds this year, but it just didn't work out for us because we couldn't get them to come up. That's just how sometimes it goes. So I went and bought sets like we always buy. And we're going to try a little something different and see if we can get them to grow a little bit better, a little bit bigger. And we planted a lot more. So what you're looking at is 170 onions that we have. And now I got some grass I got to take care of. That's growing in the corner there. But that's something I'll do here before too long. And then this is open. I haven't quite exactly got this planned out on what I'm going to do with these 2 as far as what's going to go in them, but something will definitely go in them. And then here is the new, bigger, much better garden. So you can see how much tighter this is. You can actually tell exactly where we stopped on the second day and did on last night. So we did quite a bit last night because we were able to work really late since I don't have to get up so early and go into work the next day. We basically worked out here till pretty much dark and got all this covered up. And this is the new garden. It is approximately 55 feet by 55 feet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put another full piece. These are 4-foot wide strips, and I'm going to do the whole perimeter of the garden in this 4-foot wide strip. And you can see there I've got a 4-foot wide area, and I will also come along here because this will equal my 4-foot area. It'll come through here, and a 4-foot area that'll go alongside there, and basically just completely encase this whole little area with the landscaping fabric. And you'll see why when I get finished, but I will also allude to it here in just a second. But here we are with the landscaping fabric down. Very glad that that's finally done. It was not hard, it was just tedious, and I'll go into some details here right now. So what we did was it comes on a roll. The rolls are 400 feet long. 300 feet long, 4-foot wide roll is what the one roll is. I ended up buying for this project, I bought 4 rolls. Now this stuff is not cheap. They are extremely proud of it. And that 4 rolls I got on Amazon. It's called, it's almost like DeWalt, but it's a Sunbelt something. I don't know. If you're interested, let me know, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. But it's expensive. It is very expensive stuff. And we had the other garden that we used, but it already had the holes all burned in it. And these the strips were custom made to the size of that garden. This one is much bigger than the old garden, and I didn't really want to just have to try to seam so many different pieces together. And we're planting different varieties. We're doing a totally different scheme on this garden. It's going to be unlike any garden that we've seen, any garden definitely we've ever had. And I just wanted to start with fresh. We're going to keep the old fabric. Nothing's wrong with it. We can use it in some of these raised beds, or we can use it as a tarp. We can do lots of things with it. It won't go to waste. But with these being full length strips, when you go to put it up and bring it out the next year, it'll just make it so much easier. And that's just a decision I made, and I think it's just the best way to do it. The price on this fabric, 4 of them, cost me, I'll just look back at my Amazon purchase from these, and it ended up being, I think it was $479 for 4 rolls. So you can see that if you're doing a garden that's of any size, that it'll run into your wallet pretty deep. But this stuff, we love it. We've used it for now 2 years, and it has really outperformed our expectations, and we're going to keep using it because we know for a fact that it'll go for 3 years. And I'm guessing that if you treat it right and put it up every year and bring it back out, you can probably get 5 to 10 years out of this investment. So that's the goal. I still got to go in and burn my holes. I've got to put up the electric fence. That I have no idea how to do that, but I have been reading. I will figure that out. But this will have an electric fence around it to ward off deer and other hungry creatures that like to eat our food. It's going to have a watering system that's not fancy, but very economical and functional, that I've been working on in my head. I'd like to see it in practice, but I just want to do an update here so that you can see kind of where we're at. If you feel discouraged like kind of we do, that here it is, May again. This is like last year. Last year it was the rains, and so much rain, and we couldn't ever get our garden in because of the rain. And this year's just been a mixture of rain and cold. It's either too cold. Still just had 2 days ago. Here it is, the middle of May, and just a couple of days ago we had a frost warning. I mean, it's insane, but it'll get done. Just like last year, we got to a really late start, but we ended up having a very good season, and I'm thinking this will be the same. We'll get it in, and we'll just make the best of it, and we'll probably have a fantastic season. So stay tuned for more developments as we go. You'll get to see how we exactly do with our garden, how we do it exactly, in case you want to do something like this. It's not going to be hard, and it's going to be as maintenance free as possible. That's the goal here, is make it so that you can work a lot of hours at work and still be able to come home with minimal effort and have a large garden that you can get your food from, and you know exactly what's been sprayed or hasn't been sprayed on it, and be able to put up some foods for times like winter when you don't have a garden. So we'll get into more details, like I said, as I'm able to make more videos showing the progression of this. One thing I will throw in real quick is putting this paper down. You need to have landscape staples in order to put this paper down. It's not hard. I just threw a rope between it. It comes on a big roll, like a toilet roll. Threw a rope between it, grabbed two ends of it, and just had Miss Tea Badger stand on it while I rolled it out. And then we basically overlapped by 4.5 inches. And you know, you can do 6, you can do 12. If you did 12, it'd be super easy because it has lines every foot, so that would make it incredibly easy to measure. But you'd lose a foot, and being the garden the way it is, it just worked out mathematically for us to do 4.5, and we don't lose that much. So when you're doing your measurements, whatever it is, say it's you know, if it's 6 inches that you're losing, then your strips are no longer 48 inches, they're 42. Just remember that. And you'll only lose that 6 inches on one side, not on both, just one side. So every strip, with you even overlapping each piece by 6 inches, is a true 42 inch. And so just whatever you want to overlap, do the math accordingly. But we're extremely happy with how it turned out. Just really looking forward to get it down. It is definitely a 2-person job. One person could do it. It would take much longer. It would be way more aggravating. And so if you can find a friend or you know, somebody that's willing to come out and help you, it doesn't take long. Like I said, it took us 3 nights to do it after work, but this would easily be done in a day, a full day. But you also, the very first time you put it down is going to take the longest, because you want to get it square, you just want to be real meticulous with it, because however you set it up this time is how it's going to be subsequent years when you put it down. And also it'll make it easier when you put it down the next year. So spend the extra time and do it right, and that way you get it just like you like it, exactly how you want it. And then putting it down every other year, it goes down so much easier and faster. That's my non-pro tip for you. So anyway, I really appreciate you watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and follow us along on our little journeys, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Thanks.